congrats, you've reached that 3.5 to 4.0 level. Now, where do you go from here? How do you go up to 4.5 and 5.0? I'm gonna give you the 3 most important shots you need to learn to get to that level, so stick around. All right, let's jump right into it. Shot number 1 is counterattacks. Resetting is fine, and that's really good at that 3.5 and 4.0 level, just getting the ball back over the net. But if you wanna progress even farther, you gotta work on your counterattack game. If you get attacked, how well can you attack back at the opponent and win the point? Let's go over it. So at the 3.5 and 4.0 level, your resets should be pretty decent. A reset, for anyone that doesn't know what it is if she was to hit the ball, I can just kind of block it back at her and lots of times reset it back into the kitchen. They call it a reset because you're resetting the point so it doesn't end. So at the 3.5, 4.0 level, especially 4.0, we should be pretty well versed in what a reset is and how to do it. Now, where do we go from there? Now we want to go to a counterattack, which can be much more beneficial for your game and move your level that much higher. So this time as she attacks me, I can look at attacking back, regardless of where that is on my body, and I'll kind of show you some tricks on how to do that. So a few things that we can work on for a counterattack instead of a reset is our paddle angle. Usually with a reset, our paddle angle is tilted slightly up, and that way we're just hitting the ball. It's soft, it's okay. It will be up to go over the net, but then drop shortly after. Then it's not attackable on the other end. But if we want to counterattack, we don't want to counterattack up. If we're counterattacking up, that ball is going to go long, the opponent's going to dodge it, and then we won't win the point. So one thing we can do is change our paddle angle from here to more of a flat position. So another thing we can do to improve our counterattacks is to sit backhand. What I mean by that is lots of times our ready position is at 12 o'clock. What we can do instead is sit slightly backhand ready, because our counterattacks, we can reach a lot more with our backhand than we can with our forehand. So for example, my forehand gets me from maybe here, which this won't be a great shot, out to here. I can use a forehand. Our backhand can get me from here, that same position, all the way across my body and all the way to this side of my body. So we can reach so much more here with the backhand, and I've found that the backhand can be more consistent with practice. And a third tip to a better counterattack is staying grounded, bending your knees, and somewhat letting the arm do the work. As I was working my way up in levels, one thing I would do when I was attacked is kind of jump out of the ball and my feet would leave the ground. We don't want to do that. If we want a more consistent shot, we need to keep our feet still. All right, shot number 2 to get you to the next level is an aggressive dink. Getting dinks over consistently is very good, and that's what got you to the level that you're at. Now we want to try to get a little bit more aggressive with that dink. So I'm going to give you 2 ways that you can do that. Okay, the first way that we can dink more aggressively is by putting topspin on the ball. So backspin is a ball that spins back towards you. So if you were hitting backspin, that ball would be spinning this way towards you, okay? But if we want to hit topspin, if I want to hit topspin, I'm hitting towards my opponent. If I want to hit backspin, I'm hitting back towards me. In order to put topspin on the ball, we need to go from a low to a high position. You can start to, a lot of people say don't use wrist when you're dinking, and that's fine at the lower levels, but once you get up to 3.5 and 4.0 and above, you'll start using your wrist a little bit more. I like to say paddle head down to paddle head up, and that's giving me a little bit of a top spin on the ball. And what that's doing is putting more pressure on the opponent. The more pressure you can put on them, the more skill you'll have, because you'll be able to win more points, causing them to pop up a ball and you easily put it away. So here's how we do it. So the motion that I'm making here is low to high, low to high. Not extreme, we're not doing a complete, what would you call that, a rainbow. We're just low to high, and that's putting top spin on the ball, putting pressure on my opponent. So low to high, low to high. As I'm doing that, I'm putting more and more top spin on the ball. So the second way to apply pressure on your dinks is by reaching in the kitchen. If you can make yourself big in the kitchen, you can win a lot more points without even hitting the ball. If I'm playing with someone that's really tall or has good reach, or even someone that's shorter but that's constantly reaching and getting balls out of the air, I'm more prone to make a mistake. So what you need to do is practice, 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 reaching in and trying to get balls out of the air in order to put more pressure on your opponent. Another thing that does is it gives your opponent less time to dink back when you're reaching out and getting balls out of the air. So I'll show you how to do that as well. So here's an example of a situation where I'm reaching in the kitchen and getting as many balls out of the air as I can, giving my opponent less time, putting more pressure on them, causing them to miss. Hopefully they'll pop one up to me. So there I'm able to quickly put pressure on them while still dinking and look for that little bit of a pop-up so that I can attack. And that'll get you to that next level pretty quickly. This is shot number 3 that will get you to the next level. This one is very unassuming. Nobody thinks about this, but it's actually the return of serve. The return is so important at every level. If you want to make it to a higher level, say you're a 4-0 right now, quickest way to get to 4-5 is have consistent and deep returns. So let me show you how. So we could go over the return for an hour and I still wouldn't have given you all the information that we need. But I want to try to pinpoint a few of the important things in order to have a good return. The first thing is depth. The most important thing about your return is trying to get that return deep. If you return a ball short, your opponent has already made it to the kitchen by the time they've hit the ball, and that's not what we want. We want to be able to try to keep them back as much as we can. So they're gonna give us an aggressive shot back if all we do on our return is hit it short. So the first thing is to hit it deep. So let's see how that goes. In order to get a deep return, you'll have to hit it hard and with some top spin. But something that's really important is starting back behind the baseline and bringing your momentum forward as you return. If you're too close to the baseline, you could have a serve that brings you backward and then your return is falling short. So best thing to do is start farther back and move forward. I'll show what that looks like. I'm coming in, top spin, and hitting that ball as deep as I can. That one, it was lucky, but hit the baseline. So very deep, and that puts a lot of pressure on the opponent. That's one reason the return can be super important to getting to that next level. So a really efficient way to get a better return and to return it deep is by practicing them. You have to drill this. Don't go out and play your rec games and then think, I'm going to hit my returns, because you might hit a lot of them out, and then you might get frustrated, and then your returns will turn into what they were previously and you stay at the same level. Instead, go out and drill them and hit it over and over. So what you can do is practice hitting your returns deep, somewhat in this area just past the baseline until you consistently dial it in and your returns are hitting on the baseline, which is ideal, or just inside the baseline. Something else that I've done is I'll take a piece of tape and pull it across right here and practice returning to somebody and trying to get it past that piece of tape every time. In the beginning, you won't get it every time, but after a while, after hitting 1,000 of them, you can consistently hit in this area. And trust me, just the return alone, if it's consistent and deep, will get you up to that next level you want to be at. So to wrap this all up, these 3 things will get you to that next level. That is counterattacks, aggressive dinks out of the air, and deep returns. If you can focus on these 3 things, you'll see your game start to jump. I do want to remind everyone to try to drill when you can. I know it's fun to play. I love playing as well, and playing will help your game, but nothing will help it as much as getting out there and drilling. Do these 3 things and watch your game get to the next level. See you next time.